been some years back, and there was a development director of a college who came visit me, and I got on his case. He said, "You have raised tuition 70% in the last 4 years." I says, "Why have you done that?" And he looked at me and he says, "Because we can." Okay, because we can, and that's why tuition is constantly going up, because people can borrow themselves into oblivion. You can get an 18-year-old who can't sign a note to buy a car, but he can sign a note for $200,000 of college debt.
Right.
So and they'll do that. I mean, it's I have this little story I tell. It's called The Tale of Three Colleges.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bartelle's Money Talk. And today we have a very special guest that's going to help you navigate your money so that you can graduate from college with no debt. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, I'm Dr. Kuni Beasley. Glad to be here.
Well, you know what? We need to know about that doctorate degree you have and exactly what do you do, Dr. Kuni?
A doctorate degree? Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Okay, here's the spiel I give people. I said, okay, my bachelor's degree is in criminal justice. I have never busted anybody or written a parking. I do have a master's in business, but my first doctorate is in Greek and Hebrew. No one has asked me to be a rabbi. My second doctorate is in urban and public administration. No one's asked me to be their mayor. So after 22 years of college, I am an educational failure. Don't work in any of my fields. But I did go to college 22 years and only pay for one semester. And that's what people want to talk to me.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you help people graduate from college owing no money at all.
No
Correct?
money at all. I help people with med school, law school, grad school. There's just a way of doing it. And you have the thing about it is most of the people are out there call themselves college blank, college planner. Most of them, 60% of them really, they sell insurance or do something else. They try to get you to refinance your house or whatever. But there are ways of going through college and not having to encumber a lot of debt. I mean, my previous spouse, her and her two daughters, I got her and her two daughters through college for $30,000.
Wow, with no debt. Okay.
Well, that leads me into this question here, because you said with $30,000 you got them through college, and I know I did some research and I found out like in-state tuition on average for someone to attend college is like, and this is in-state tuition for public universities, like $27,146 dollars per year. So when you said $30,000, that's like, and you did it for the whole time it was in. That's pretty amazing. So why do you think college is so much money? Why do you think that?
Well, this has been some years back, and there was a development director of a college who came visit me, and I got on his case. I said, "You have raised tuition 70% in the last 4 years." I says, "Why have you done that?" And he looked at me and he says, "Because we can." Okay, because we can, and that's why tuition is constantly going up, because people can borrow themselves into oblivion. You can get an 18-year-old who can't sign a note to buy a car, but he can sign a note for $200,000 of college debt.
Right.
So and they'll do that. I mean, it's I have this little story I tell. It's called The Tale of Three Colleges. Now, I used to live up in the Dallas area, and all the way up in McKinney, Texas, Collin County Community College. That's where that is. Okay, you take U.S. history, it's going to cost you about $200. You go down Central Expressway, University of Texas at Dallas, it's going to run you about $3,000. Okay, you go to Southern Methodist University, it's going to run you about $6,000 to take the U.S. history course. Now, Columbus still left in 1492, and George Washington is still the first president. So all you're doing is paying for the privilege of paying for the privilege. But a lot of people have a lot of ego attached to college, and they see that if they get their kid into a fancy college, that somehow it projects their self-esteem. And that's fine, but somebody's going to have to pay the bill. If you want to pretend like you're a great golf player and you're going to pay dues to a country club, you've got to have some sanity to this. So what I do is I said we're going to target the colleges that give money away. Now, if you say I need to go to this other college, then okay, but they're not all colleges give money away. There's only 400 of them that give money away.
Wow. Okay, well, that's good. But you brushed over something that I think that we need to touch on. You said that some parents think getting their child into a particular school, it boosts their self-esteem. Can you just touch on that a little bit? So to me, that's like a minor dysfunction because we're still relating our own self-esteem to what our children are doing. So can
Yeah.
you just talk a little bit about parents getting their children into particular schools?
Well,
To
I was just dealing with a family recently, and I told him, I says, you know, he doesn't figure out what he's going to do, so you need to send him to community college. Oh, we can't send our friend to community college. Our son is community college. I mean, what our friends think? I says they're going to
oh,
think that you got more money in the bank. You know, I said you don't need to send him to a fancy college at $50,000 a year to find himself. He can find himself at the community college. I mean, George Washington was still the first president. Columbus still left in 1492. I mean, I uh, one of my daughters and my then spouse both went to community college first. Now, my spouse graduated from Harvard with honors. My total cost of
mhm.
Harvard was 22,000. Most of that was the apartment in Cambridge. Okay,
Wow.
and so it's understanding how the system works. Now, there's a lot of not everybody can do this. I mean, for example, when I deal with people who are going to go into the military, or something, I said, you enter the military from Texas because they have this thing called the Hazelwood Act, and if you entered the military from Texas, you came back to Texas after the military, and you've exhausted your GI Bill, you have essentially a 4-year scholarship to any state school in Texas, and they waive tuition for 150 hours. That's how I got one of my daughters through Texas Tech. Okay, we use the Hazelwood Act. Okay, so that waived tuition. In fact, one year we got so much funding for her, we got $12,000 more than it cost to go, and I had to pay tax on it, considered income. And I mean, I could show you the 1098 on that one. I mean, people don't believe me. And then, you know, when I showed them, you know, the Harvard thing, one year we got over $22,000 in need-based aid to attend. We got the checks. Okay, I show pictures of the checks and stuff.
Mhm.
And because my wife's first semester at Harvard was $596. No, excuse me, $496. Um,
So,
Yeah, that
so
wasn't a bad bill.
I know.
yeah.
So, Dr. Cooney, I have to ask the question. So, how can you go to a place like Harvard or other universities and only pay that little amount to attend the university? What are some of those secrets?
That's why I make the big bucks.
Oh, you got to share just a few so you can
You
have
know,
people calling you for help.
okay. Number one, Harvard has the biggest financial aid program. Yeah, I think it's 70,000. If your adjusted gross income is under 70,000, you get a full ride. If it's under 160,000, they waive tuition. They'll take financial aid all the way up to $250,000. Harvard could charge zero tuition, and it's right now. Harvard is really not a university; it's a hedge fund. Okay, and it makes so much money that they don't need to charge tuition. So we got, I mean, so our cutoff that year was, you know, because at that time we had 3 people in college. My qualification for need-based aid at Harvard came down to very little. Plus, on top of that, and she had gotten a scholarship. She got the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship, which covered the first year at Harvard for free. And so, I mean, as everything began to kick in, we actually came ahead dollar-wise because of what we qualified for, because they have such incredible financial aid. Yale has the same thing. Georgia Tech, Rice, Vanderbilt, University of Chicago, they have enormous need-based aid. Well, see, most people think need-based aid is needy. No, you don't have to be needy. Because at that time, this was, let's crank it back to 2010, okay? I had 3 people in college at the same time. My total college bill was $72,000, okay, per year. This was my total college bill, all right? Now, when I turned my FAFSA in, they said I should be able to afford $36,000 of that. And I also qualified for $36,000 of financial aid. So we got $36,000 of financial aid. I assure you, I didn't pay that other $36,000 because I found other ways of getting money. There's all kinds of different, there's no one set way,
Mhm.
okay? Because it's kind of like, you know, the landscape changes. You got to find out where the opportunities are. There are some places where it remains consistent. There are some places where it doesn't. And there's a lot of opportunities that people have that they don't even know about. I mean, the biggest opportunity right now, Hispanics, African Americans, indigenous, small town, first generation. It's called the National Recognition Program, and it's done through the PSAT and the College Board. And if you score high in those identity areas, colleges will fall all over themselves to bring you in so they can get their diversity quotient up. I had a girl this year, sophomore year of high school, qualified for National Hispanic Recognition as a sophomore in the PSAT 10. She calls me up, says, "What is this?" I said, "Gosh, you've already got a full scholarship in your back pocket." I mean, she would have qualified for over $1 million in scholarship offer. I mean, Fordham offered her a full scholarship. Okay. And so she chose a small college in Florida, Florida Gulf Coast University. And when she went down to the visit, they just told her, says, "You just show up, we'll pay for everything." And Florida Atlantic offered her a full scholarship. Alabama. I mean, there was just several places because if you get that particular award, the award itself is not worth any money, but the colleges want you because you're fulfilling their diversity quotient. And I had a girl 2 years ago go to University of Kentucky, full ride, because she won the National Hispanic Recognition. And I'm sitting here going, why aren't people doing this? I'm down here in the Rio Grande Valley where high density Hispanic population, and nobody's put this on their radar. Nobody has said, gosh, these kids, with a little effort on their PSAT, they can get full scholarships to college.
So that brings me to the question, how important is the ACT and SAT with getting scholarships?
It's very important. You have a lot of colleges. This is what people don't understand. You have a lot of colleges that went test optional. That's test optional for admission. The numbers on test optional for admission is that these are the statistics. Okay, if you had what's called a midline test score, which would put you in the middle 50% of the people admitted to that school, if you had a test score in the middle 50%, you are half again likely to be admitted than somebody on grades alone without test scores. Now, when you move over to the scholarships, almost all the scholarships require test scores. For example, University of Kentucky, 4.0, no test scores. 3.5, you need test score.
Okay, so do most scholarships also too require you to complete the FAFSA form?
Yeah, you can complete the FAFSA. I mean, people are afraid of the FAFSA. There's nothing wrong with the FAFSA. Now, they had some trouble this year when they implemented. They had to push the date back and stuff. They had some trouble this year because they were trying to convert it. But yeah, I filed FAFSA every year. I mean, when I had kids in college, you filed. Now, see, FAFSA again. FAFSA indicates what you would qualify for federal funding. Everybody who is a citizen or legal immigrant qualifies for some form of federal aid. Some form of federal aid. Okay, so you file the FAFSA. I mean, and this doesn't mean you're poor. I mean, I have people file the FAFSA. I had a parent, Georgetown, guy's a millionaire. Okay, daughter goes to Georgetown, and so we worked out a financial plan where he took all the loans, put his daughter through Georgetown because his portfolio was performing better than the interest rate on the loans. So he kept his money in the portfolio, took out the loans, and then paid the loans off with the money he made in his portfolio. We do that a lot with people. Okay. Right. By the way, I was a business professor for 13 years, and I also worked at the Federal Reserve Bank, so I know a little bit about money. All right.
Sounds like you do. But with that case, his child didn't get a scholarship, correct?
No. Money for college is money for scholarship. There's grants, there's scholarships, there's waivers, there's all kinds of ways to reduce your cost. Okay. So so it's not necessarily have to be a scholarship. Now, there are scholarships that are out there, but there are also grants. There are also waivers. I mean, the Hazelwood Act is a waiver. Okay. They just waive tuition. Okay. You don't have to pay it. So there's just all kinds of different ways to get money for college, not just scholarships is a way. Okay. It's 5 ways. We actually have a video on this. 5 ways. We use the acronym MONEY, MONEY. Number 1, merit scholarships. Okay. Academic scholarships, artistic scholarships, athletic scholarships, scholarships for working on the newspaper, cheerleader scholarships, merit, okay, and have nothing to do with your income. Opportunity money, like an ROTC scholarship, which is the best scholarship you can get, by the way, ROTC scholarship. But opportunity money is things like your employer, tuition reimbursement, things like that. These are opportunities that are out there, work study. Okay. 3 is need-based. Okay. Need doesn't mean needy. It means the difference between what college costs and what they expect you to pay. That's what your FAFSA does. It tells you what your expected family contribution is going to be. And then you have, what the college costs. And in between is the need. Okay. Now you have colleges that advertise, we meet all need. So they say, when you hit this much, okay, this is what you're supposed to pay. We'll cover the rest. You have a lot of colleges that didn't meet all demonstrated need. You'll see it advertised, meet all demonstrated need. Okay. Next one is E, entitlement. Entitlement money. There are certain people entitled. I mean, people are entitled to the GI Bill. The Hazelwood Act is an entitlement. If you are a foster kid, you're entitled to free college at state universities in many states. And in-state and out-of-state tuition, that's an entitlement. In-district, out-of-district tuition, that's an entitlement. There are certain entitlements that are. And finally is your own money. Every college in the country will accept your credit card, your check, or your cash, okay, for that. But there are ways, and I've had people navigate it so that they're out of pocket after 4 years of college. It was about $11,000, and there are ways of doing it. Okay,
That's pretty.
and I work with people who want to hack college. There's a way to hack college and get through it in 9 months, and at about $5,000.
And you say hack, so hack college. Could you explain that?
Well, hack is you accumulate the credits, and then a college grants you a degree. University of Maine Press Isles is the main hack college in the country right now. Used to be Excelsior College in New York. Thomas Edison is a hack college. So there are colleges that if you accumulate the credits and give them to them, and you meet other requirements, then they'll award you a degree.
Well, that's smart. Yeah, and so are you familiar with the Parent Plus loan?
Yeah, that's what's going to put everybody in hock.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about the Parent Plus loan?
Okay, Parent Plus loan is parent loan for undergraduate students, undergraduate studies. What'll happen is whatever financial aid package you have, you'll get put in whatever grant you get or scholarship you get. They'll put in Stafford loan, subsidized and unsubsidized, and between that and the cost of the college, you can take the plus loan out for. Okay, it's actually the student signs for it, the parents co-sign. Okay, and then you can take it all the way to the total cost of attendance. That's where the big debt is, by the way. It's in the plus loans.
So you say the student signs and the parent co-signs.
The parent co-signs.
So if the student doesn't pay, then the parent pays.
Yeah, they'll go to the casket and take it out of your pocket. Really?
That is something else.
Student loan, you cannot die, because if you die, the student loan has first dibs before they bury. You're going to be in the freezer until you they get paid.
Goodness. So I'm like, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because a lot of times when we have like first generation students or children that's going to college, a lot of parents aren't aware of the consequences of signing a Parent Plus loan.
Oh yeah, the parents are going to go in hock, and then there are ways of mitigating that, but not very many.
Okay, all right.
But it depends. Like, see, I had a doctor come to me, and he said, I've got all these loans. This is what can I do about it? And I go, make sure you make your monthly payment. And he says, well, how's it going to look like? He says, well, you'll be 63 when they're paid out. You're going to spend your entire professional life working for the government.
Just to pay the student loans back.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if he'd have been smart, he would have taken one of the military scholarships to go to medical school, which they pay for medical school. They'll pay them officer pay while they're in medical school, and they owe them 1 year for 1 year, which in the military, 1 year experience in a military hospital is 5 years experience in a civilian hospital. Okay, and they do that. And then I had another doctor. I told her, she was talking to me about all her loans. I said, join the Army Reserve. They'll take you as a doctor. They took her as a doctor. Now, in their program, 7 years in the reserves, they would pay off her loans, 1/7 every year. Didn't matter how much the loan was. And she could pick where she wanted to go. Now, she did get activated twice. She did a backfill. She went to a military medical facility so that an active duty doctor could deploy. Okay.
That was
and plus, when she had to do her 2 weeks, she said, can I go to Frankfurt? So it sent her to Frankfurt for her 2 weeks. I had another friend who was a DO. He did his 2 weeks working with the jungle troops in Panama because he liked to go out and do jungle medicine. It's a cool thing for him. So, there's all kinds of different ways. It's like right now, I'm working with kids, because the military is the single largest provider of money for college. And so I tell people, you want to look at getting an ROTC scholarship. Yeah. Okay. So you got to serve Uncle Sam for 4 years. You're going to get 20 years of experience.
Right.
Okay? Yes. You're going to get 20. Well, let me put it this way. When I was 23 years old, I commanded a 200-man nuclear artillery unit in Germany. I'd been in the Army 2 years, and I was in command. I had 18 Hiroshima-sized nukes. I remember going to my first civilian job, and my boss was, wondering if I could handle that much responsibility. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I've given up more responsibility than you all ever have the rest of your life. But they have people who come in and actively recruit junior military officers because they want that experience. A lot of people don't see that. Oh, I'm going to have to sit in the foxhole. Even the people I talk about in med school, oh, I can't go in a foxhole. And I go, it's not foxholes. They don't put doctors in foxholes. But I've got a kid on a track right now. They have a thing called a Minuteman Scholarship, which actually pays more than an ROTC scholarship does. And the standards are a little lower. And you go and join a reserve unit and take ROTC at the college. You're drawing about $900 a month. plus they're paying your tuition. Okay, when you get out, there's no active duty commitment. It's 8 years in the reserves guaranteed. I said, you do that, then you get your AMED scholarship, have them pay for a medical school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, make sure you enter in from Texas. That way your
Mm-hmm.
kids are going to go to college for free. Okay, and then you go do your time in the military. Some people stay there till they're colonels and they retire at, either half or 2/3 of their pay, and then they go into private practice.
Right, and make
You
more
know?
money. But
Make
go ahead, Dr. Kuni.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah,
Kuni.
well, I mean, they're just different strategies. They're just, and again, most people don't know this. I mean, I'm going to put it this way. Most high school counselors couldn't name the Ivy League colleges. I was at the Texas High School Counselors convention in Galveston, and 40 people in the room, half of them had doctoral degrees in counseling. And I asked them, let's name the Ivy League colleges. And they got some of them, some of them got wrong. And then one of them finally Googled it on her phone.
That's about the only way I would really know. I only know maybe two.
Let's try it. Let's go.
Harvard.
This is correct. This is incorrect. Okay.
Okay. Harvard, Yale, Georgetown. No. MIT.
Was it? No, it's Darf. Was it? Oh,
I have no clue.
no, it's Harvard, Yale.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We just failed.
All right. So some people say Stanford. Some people say Duke. Some people say Berkeley or Chicago or whatever. Okay, now B, C, C, D, and then happy, take out the A. B, C, C, D, H, P, P, Y. B, Brown, Cornell, Columbia, Dartmouth, Harvard, Princeton, Penn, Yale.
Okay, that's a good way to remember it. I mean, those names are familiar. You just don't think about them being Ivy.
Yeah, but see, the Ivy League is an athletic association.
Okay, see,
you don't get in an Ivy League because you got a big, powerful school. You're in the Ivy League because you play football. Harvard, Yale plays football, or they do crew or rowing or lacrosse. It just happens to have a lot of top institutions. But when you take the top 10 institutions in the country, four of Ivy Leagues will be on there. First time are not on there.
So since you were talking about the Ivy League schools, does it make a difference when you go to apply for a job if you got your degree from an Ivy League school versus from getting?
Yes, it does. It makes a difference.
All right.
It makes a difference. Okay. But it's not because you went to an Ivy League school. You see, I got into a debate with a guy because they said, what is what we call the transformational factor, how much the school changes you to go forward. The thing about Harvard is they don't have a big transformational factor. They get good people in, polish them up a little bit, and let them go. Mark Zuckerberg, he didn't need the whole thing. Okay, Bill Gates. Okay, most of these guys came in with the propulsion and got them through. Most of the people to go to Harvard because of what they had when they went in, Harvard polished it and they went out. That's what made them attractive to employers. Okay, it's not so much how Harvard transformed them. Yeah, they picked up contacts and things like that, and that's good. Okay, but let me put it this way: when my past wife, when we would go to mixers, she would drop the H bomb, so we called it, and the entire tenor of the conversation changed when they found out she had graduated from Harvard.
Wow.
The H bomb.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that because if you look at the Ivy League schools and you walk in with an Ivy League degree, it's like, hey, I guess that would change the whole environment.
Yeah, and you know what? I sat in on a lot of her classes, and they are better classes. Having taught college for 13 years, there were some people there that in the areas that I taught, I was not in their league.
Because you went to like a state school or?
Well, I mean, these guys had done the incredible research. They were the guys who wrote the textbooks we were using.
Oh, okay. So it does make a difference.
And it was just these guys really knew their stuff. And I was really impressed with them. And some of them I wasn't in there. Like I taught speech, and I went to their speech class. And Harvard generally uses speech teachers from Emerson, which is a speech college, a communications college.
Yes.
And the Emerson professor came in, and his assistant, who was from India, spoke like she was in Ohio. I mean, just perfect English, no accent, no nothing. And then when she would revert back to her regular speech, you could pick up the accent. But the way he was taught, and I'm going, gosh, that's out of my league. I mean, half of being smart is knowing what you're dumb at, and then realizing that you're not the smartest person.
Right, because
that's a good thing to find out, because a lot of times I am the smartest person in the room, and I have to leave.
Well,
Well, I mean, because you got a couple of doctoral PhDs, so yeah, I guess you.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, you can ask my previous spouses how smart I was. They're all smarter than one, especially the one that went to Harvard.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, but and you can ask my girlfriends too. They're smarter.
But some of the financial experts will tell you, well, it doesn't matter where you got your degree from. If you got your degree in engineering from a state school versus you getting your engineering degree from an Ivy League school, when you go for your interview, they're not going to ask you what school you graduated from. Do
Oh,
you think that's true?
they are. But here's the curve you have to understand. That's going to be good for about 7 years. After
Okay.
that, no significant difference. There was the
Um,
oh gosh, it's going to come to me. There was a study made, longitudinal study, started in 1972, and they tracked people who had got accepted to Ivy League schools and tracked those who went and those who didn't go.
Okay.
They went to other schools, okay, and they tracked them for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of 40 years, no significant difference in income, no significant difference in success. After the first 7 years, there was a difference because they didn't have work history. But after that, everything leveled off.
So
wow.
that's good.
I'm trying to remember the name of the study. It'll come to. I mean that when it and then again, people. Let me get back. What do you think is the highest paying industry a college graduate can get in?
I'm thinking being a physician, like a
No,
surgeon.
no, no. Just after 4 years.
Oh, after 4 years,
Maybe technology
maybe
or
like
engineering.
or like in the cyber industry or something. Maybe.
Why,
No.
what
What
is it?
is it?
The maritime industry.
What is that?
Oh,
That's
that's
the ships,
yeah,
maritime,
yeah.
it's cargo
Oh,
ships, tankers, uh, uh, container
yeah.
ships.
We
Okay,
had
the merchant
we had
marine.
that was in maritime.
Yeah,
There's so in maritime.
of the in the top
Oh,
20
next door.
Yes.
in the top 20 colleges that make money after 10. I think it was after 10 years. You had four Ivy Leagues and four maritime academies: Maine Maritime, California Maritime, Merchant Marine Academy. I mean, I had a student graduate from the Merchant Marine Academy. He walked in a $160,000 job.
I bet our
Nine,
listeners like that.
90
Wow.
days on, 90 days off, 90 days on, 90 days off.
That's the kind of job I need.
Yeah, but I mean, but the maritime industry, because I mean, uh, people again, people don't realize that's my thing. We won World War II because of our maritime, our merchant marine, not because of our battleships and aircraft carriers. We
Mhm.
were able to, we were able to pick up 10 million men and send them to England on boats. Desert Storm. We were able to pick up Dayton, Ohio, and move it to Kuwait.
Wow, because of the
Mhm.
maritime.
Yeah, but I would have
Yeah,
never
it's a
guessed it was a
maritime
maritime.
industry. Yeah,
I would
maritime
never
industry.
guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's
okay.
and there's several maritime academies. And again, people just you're talking to a lot of people think they're experts because they went to college. Just because you went to college, you're not an expert in college anymore.
Mhm.
Going to a football game qualifies you to coach. Okay, they think they know. Dangerous person in the world is a person who thinks he knows but doesn't. That's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Oh, it was the Kruger study. Thank you. The Kruger study.
Okay, good,
Okay,
good.
You have the Dunning-Kruger effect. The people who think they know and they don't. Their ignorance is dangerous because other people listen to them.
Right.
So
Dangerous.
anyway, so a lot of people think they know. A lot of people go to their counselors. Counselors think they know, and
Mm-hmm.
most of them couldn't name the Ivy League college. And it's like going to a doctor and doesn't know the bones in the forearm. What are the bones in the forearm? Ulna and radius. Okay,
Mm-hmm. If they don't know that,
Yeah,
and
you
but
better
but
run.
again, that's where I have an advantage is I've been studying this for almost 50 years, and I develop programs on how to approach this. Have a course on how to write essays. Right now, I'm writing a course on how to beat the new way of beating the new SAT. Okay,
okay.
Oh,
Well,
and
yeah.
I
damn.
mean the SAT people know me. David Coleman. I mean they've been after years.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I argue him a lot because I don't like that's beside the point. They did some good things in the new SAT. Some of the things I didn't like. I don't like the online SAT, but they did some good things. The resources they did huge resources, which is
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad they did. But so when you're let's get back on topic here about money. Okay, if you're going to if you want to get money, you go to colleges that give money away. Don't target colleges that don't give money away. For an example, University of Texas doesn't give any money away. I don't care how smart you are. Okay? If you're valedictorian, they'll give you 2 years of free tuition. But colleges that have people lined up to get in don't need to give them money as an incentive to go. However, you've got schools like UT San Antonio, UT Dallas, UT Tyler. In order to attract that talent, they got to give them money, or they're going to go to A&M, or they're going to go to UT. So you give them money to come to you, and that's, you want to attract the talent. So colleges give money away because for whatever reason they need to attract talent or attract somebody that's going to change their diversity quotient or something like that. They have to have an incentive to do that. So when you deal with, for example, what's called land grant colleges. Land grant colleges are required to provide education for the farm boys. So the admissions requirements for the farm boys are going to be a little lower. So in order to balance that out, they got to find a lot of people with good numbers. We call it metrics. So they'll offer money to people who have high test scores, high grades and stuff, so that their overall profile will go up, even though they're bringing in the farm boys. Okay.
So that makes me want to know, though, how do students find out about the colleges that give away money? How do they go about finding colleges that give money away?
They contact Dr. Beasley. I put him on the mail list.
Okay.
There it is. So
Dr. Beasley.
So listener, Dr. Beasley is a person to contact if you want to find.
My website is Beasley College Prep. It's info at Beasley College Prep, and we'll get you on the mailing list. And I send out newsletters periodically and stuff. Keep people, and I do webinars and try to keep people informed. But again, particularly when I'm dealing with potential clients, I'm not cheap, okay, but I cost a lot less than college. And the way I price it, I said, okay, you're probably going to get $120,000 scholarship, at least one of those. Okay, if you're one of the people that in my program, and for what you pay me, that's 1,000% return on investment.
Okay.
Wow.
They don't see it that way. They think, I need this money for college, and I go, yeah, you're gonna need a lot more than that for college. So what I look for is being able to get them a good return on investment. So that's how I look at it.
So Dr. Beasley, so tell us something here. So when they had COVID, right, and COVID was going on, and I always wondered this, but do you think COVID had an impact on like college funding?
Your video I missed something in there. Your video froze.
Oh, do you think like COVID had an impact on college funding?
Yes. I mean, my business actually went up during COVID.
So in what way do you think it had impact?
Well, what happened in COVID is that colleges needed money, so they started cutting deals. Okay, doing things like offering freshman year free if you do it online, things like that, and it caused them to innovate. So you have a lot more online programs right now. And the colleges are now going back and charging them for charging campus-based prices for online programs. The online programs are a cash cow for them.
I've seen a lot of debates about that, where people kind of getting angry about that too.
But they're still, they can complain, but they're still paying it. And so as long as they're paying it, colleges are going to do it.
That's right. And so, Dr. Kuni, can you tell the listeners what they can do to set themselves up to be eligible to apply to get good scholarships?
Okay. All right. We have 3 areas that we work on: your preparation, your packaging, and your positioning. Preparation, use the acronym FAST. Your finances, get your finances in order. Okay. Make sure you have good records. Your academics. All right. Make sure you're taking the right courses. Okay. Your student development. Make sure the single most important characteristic of a successful scholarship student is their work ethic. They're willing to do the work and start early. Character. Harvard wants the kid who had the character when he got out of the 8th grade, not the kid who's trying to Hail Mary his junior year. Okay. So student work ethic. Okay. Finally, the testing process, not just SAT and ACT, but your full testing process, the ASVAB, all these different tests that you need to take. And then that's your preparation process. Okay. And we have our packaging process. Packaging, we use the acronym GRADE. Your grades, there's no substitute. R is your recognition. Are you going to get the President's Volunteer Service Award, the President's Educational Achievement Award? Okay. Your experiences, your travel, your job, whatever, your activities, your band, your football. Okay. And T is your testing input. This is your SAT, ACT, AP. Okay. Then we go with how to position. Your position, SAFE, SAFE, selection of the right college, your admissions process, application, your essays, things like that. F, your funding. I told you the 5 elements of funding. And E, what is your enhancement? What is going to make you stand out? What's going to push you to the front of the line on a stool? So it's a whole strategy involved in this. that you have to do. Fundamentally, good grades, good activities, high test scores. I mean,
Wow.
colleges, 80% of the colleges that offer money will admit you and scholarship you on grades and test scores alone. Alabama, right now, 3.5 and a 32 ACT will get you a $120,000 scholarship.
Okay, can you say that part again, those numbers?
Alabama. You can Google it. Alabama scholarships. Okay. 35, 3.5 GPA and 32 ACT. Automatic.
$120,000.
$120,000.
I think it's 128,000.
Wow.
So that's a motivator. And so before we let you go, Dr. Kuni,
I probably have 150 kids who got that scholarship. Now, only a handful took it, but 150 kids, it still has one in their back pocket. If the people have the metrics beginning, if they have the metrics in August, I have them go ahead and apply. So they got that full scholarship in their back pocket. Now they have negotiating room.
Okay, that's perfect. And then before we let you go, can you tell the audience what your requirements are before you would take on a client?
Well, number one, the student has to have a good work ethic. Okay. I do not think Mark Zuckerberg's parents had to push him to get his score up or had to push him to make good grades. I work with I'm working right now with 6 people going to service academies. 4 of them, I told the parents, if you have to push them, they're not service academy material because they're going to have to push other people. Okay. So if you're looking for, if you have to push them, you have to say, you need to really knuckle down on this test prep. If you have to tell them to do that, they're really not competitive material. Michael Jordan didn't have to be pushed. Stay after practice and shoot for he got the ball. Okay. You've got to be a professional in your studies. You've got to be able to do the work. People who do the work, doesn't matter how you're smart. I mean, my wife, she was a high school dropout. She graduated with honors. She made 2 B's at Harvard. She did the work. She was there 18 hours a day. She did the work. And that's the single most important thing you have to do. A lot of people just do that. Or how much time is this going to take my kid? Or what's the average? And I don't know what the average is because I don't have any average kids, So, but there's people are looking, what's the shortcut? What's the way that I can do the one little token thing where I get the full scholarship? I said, fine, you need to put your tooth under the pillow.
Well, Dr. Kuni,
because you got to do the work.
Well, Dr. Kuni, listen, this has been absolutely fabulous. You have provided some valuable information because I'm sure there are some listeners out there who has children that maybe are about to go to college or looking at going to college, and they really need to know how to get this money to be able to not have to pay all this tuition costs to go to college. So we want to thank you for all of your time on Bartelle's Money Talk and all of your vital information. And if you don't mind, could you repeat your website one more time so the listeners can get it?
BeasleyCollegePrep.com. And if you want to email, it's info@BeasleyCollegePrep.com. I got to tell you a story. Have time for that?
Yes.
Okay. I had 2 kids. They're twins, girl and boy. She got a full scholarship to LSU. He never could get his test score. So I said, you're going to bootstrap this. He goes and enlists in the Army. For 2 years, he gets this program called Green to Gold, which they'll send him to college, finish his degree out. And May 5th, he got commissioned as a lieutenant in the Army, got his degree before his sister, already had 4 years of active service, getting commissioned as a lieutenant, so he'll be able to retire 4 years before his peer group, okay? And he didn't spend any money on his education. Now, I do have these things called bootstrap programs. If you're in the military, I can show you how to bootstrap.
Okay, that's perfect. And so with your son, though, one thing that you said that has resonated with me, you did not have to make him. He did it on his own. You gave him an option. He had to pull himself up by the bootstraps. He figured it out. You didn't have to take him down to take the ASVAB. You didn't have to force him to go to boot camp. And so I think it's very, very important that parents know if you have to pull your child, push your child, you're going to have to push them and pull them the whole way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because, if they don't have initiative and they're not self-starters, they're not competitive scholarship material.
Yeah, that's good. And that, that's important because, as parents, you want to see your child succeed.
Yes.
And then like how you say, you go back to the self-esteem for the parents. Oh, my child goes to Harvard, but that's about the parent. But still, if your child does not have self-motivation, you can your 529 plan, your CDs or whatever you put aside for the child, you still just going to be throwing money away because they don't give a flip about their grades. They don't even care if they go to class.
Yeah. I have a little thing that I put on my slideshow. It says, don't be disappointed for the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do.
Can you say that again?
Don't be disappointed for the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do. It's
I like
100% do the work. That's what it is. Pay
right.
attention, follow instructions, do the
And do
work.
the
That's
work.
it. That's the
Do the
secret of
work.
success.
Yes, do the work.
People
Oh,
say you're lucky. Well, lucky people paid attention and followed instructions.
that's right. And then before you take students on, do they have to be in a particular grade?
Well, I can pretty much help a student anywhere. I mean, I have adult students, I have law students, I have people going to med school. Uh, uh, so I can pretty well help just about anybody. But I have to look at, I'll do an initial consult, figure out what I can do,
Okay.
okay? And then tell them what it's going to, what it's going to cost and what we're going to do. And then they find out if they want to do it or not, okay? Now, this year, this is 2024, I'm only taking 12 new students on. I've got enough legacy, I got enough siblings and stuff coming in, but I've got a full plate, so I'm only going to take 12 new students on. And I mean, 2 years ago we had 54. That was a lot of work, a lot of money, but it was a lot of work. So if they want to do this, I mean, they can get on my mail list, and I have a lot of products out there. I have a test prep and learning dynamics, different other things that we're going to have out there, and there'll be more products coming out over the next year. But if you want to get a hold of Dr. Beasley, I mean, I do individual consultation. I have people who have to make a decision, so they contact me. I'll do an hour and a half with them.
Okay, so your consultation, is there a fee?
Yes, but I can't tell you what it is now because we haven't decided.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't tell us what it is. So
Well, I mean, it's going up. Okay.
Okay,
So
I have an offer for you in front of the whole world. If you get someone that calls you or wants to work with you, if they mention Bartelle's Money Talk, would you be willing to give them a 10% discount because they listen to your talk?
yeah,
Okay, so listen.
I was going to give them more of a discount, but I'll go ahead and give them what you want.
No, sir. So now you get me in trouble. So we got to fix this. So
What we do is we actually, if you refer to us, we kind of give you a little bit of a referral thank you, sealed envelope. And so what I'll do is I'll kind of split that, give them a little bit, and give you a little.
Okay, well, that sounds perfect to me because we are here to help people, and student loans are destroying marriages.
Oh, yeah.
People are committing suicide. And so we thank you so much for being here with us. And if you listener or you have a student or you yourself are in college and you're trying to get through it with no debt, you need to learn about scholarships and all of the other opportunities. We encourage you to please reach out to Dr. Kuni, mention Bartelle's Money Talk so that he can give you that discount. And we hope that you can graduate and get your degree debt-free.
Yes, debt-free.
Debt-free.
So Dr. Kuni, thank you again for your time that you have shared here on Bartelle's Money Talk. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to speaking with you again in the future. Until then, Dr. Kuni, we hope you the best.
Your brain just froze on me.
We hope you the best, Dr. Kuni, and we will look forward to talking to you again. Thank you, Dr. Kuni.